There are forests in Nigeria where even kings remove their crowns before stepping inside. Forests where hunters refused to chase animals, where soldiers lowered their weapons, and where colonial officers later admitted they felt fear without knowing why. These were not ordinary forests. They were places where the living believed the spirit world touched the earth. Places protected not by walls, but by belief, law, ritual, and consequences. Today, many of these forests still stand. In traditional Nigerian societies, land was not just land. Certain places were believed to be chosen by spirits, ancestors, or deities. When a forest became sacred, it was no longer owned by humans. It belonged to the unseen. No farming, no hunting, no logging, no settlement. Breaking these rules was not punished immediately by people, but believed to be punished by forces beyond human control. Illness, madness, sudden death, or generational misfortune. And because these beliefs were deeply rooted, fear alone protected these forests for hundreds of years. One of the most famous sacred forests is the Osun-Osogbo Sacred Grove in present-day Osun State. The Yoruba believed the river goddess Osun lived there. This forest was not just spiritual, it was political and cultural. Kings performed rituals there. Festivals were held there. Justice was sought there. If a king disrespected Osun, it was believed his reign would fail. When early colonial officers arrived, they noticed something strange. Villagers who feared British guns still refused to enter the grove without permission. Even colonial destruction elsewhere stopped at the edge of the forest. In Igbo land, sacred forests were often linked to Alusi, powerful deities. Some forests served as courts, burial grounds for taboo deaths, places of exile, spiritual prisons. If someone committed an abomination, they might be sent into the forest, not to be killed, but to face judgment from the spirits. Colonial records describe sacred groves where trees were untouched for centuries, paths were deliberately confusing, silence was strictly enforced. Even today, elders warn, some places should not be disturbed. The British did not understand sacred forests. To them, forests meant timber expansion control. So they cut them down. And this is where the stories change. Across Nigeria, elders tell of strange events after sacred forests were destroyed. Sudden sickness among workers, accidents during clearing, entire projects abandoned without explanation. British reports often dismiss these as coincidence. But local communities believe something else. The spirits were angry. In Osogbo, resistance to destroying Osun Grove became so strong that it survived colonial rule, one of the few sacred sites to do so. In many cultures, a king could not enter a sacred forest wearing his crown. Why? Because inside the forest, no human ruled. Power belonged to the spirits. Kings performed rituals barefoot. Warriors dropped their weapons. Voices were lowered. It was believed that arrogance inside the forest could invite punishment, not just on the individual, but on the entire community. This fear was not weakness, it was discipline. Stories passed down speak of hunters who never returned, loggers who fell ill, families struck by unexplained misfortune. Whether spiritual or psychological, the effect was real. Fear protected nature long before modern conservation laws existed. Long before environmental protection became a concept, belief protected the land. Today, many sacred forests are gone, but some still remain, quiet witnesses of a time when humans knew when to stop. Whether you believe in spirits or not, one truth remains. These forests shaped Nigeria's history, culture, and survival. If stories like this matter to you, subscribe, like, and share. Because Nigeria's history is deeper than books, and some stories were never meant to be forgotten. Thank you for watching.